Piers Morgan just obliterated Harry and Meghan over their Cringe Disneyland stunt. And it's spiraling fast. Blurred faces, staged photos, and a so-called private family trip that somehow ended up on every front page. Now, insiders say, King Charles is livid, Prince William's done playing nice, and legal threats are flying. This wasn't a birthday. It was a calculated media trap. And the fallout? It's way bigger than anyone expected.
Multi-millionaire who's raked in a fortune by regularly abusing his family and regurgitating private stories in books and TV shows while simultaneously lecturing the rest of us about not invading privacy.
Let's get one thing straight. If this Disneyland trip was meant to be wholesome, someone clearly forgot to tell Meghan Markle. Because instead of, "Oh," the internet gave a loud collective "nah." From the second those blurry, perfectly timed paparazzi shots hit the web, people knew it wasn't random. It was manufactured, down to the blur brush on the kids' faces. And you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to spot the setup. For a couple who's allergic to the spotlight, unless they're getting paid, choosing Disneyland, the most photographed place on Earth, wasn't just weird. It was practically begging for cameras. No secret entrances, no private tour, just Meghan in oversized shades giving "I'm totally not posing" energy, while Harry looked like he regretted every life choice since 2018. Even diehard fans felt weird about it. The images weren't charming, they were calculated. A real, "we're just like you" moment. Except most people don't drag their kids into theme park photo ops while suing newspapers for invasion of privacy. It's giving, "please stop looking at us, but also look at us, please." And let's talk about Meghan's outfit for a second. Who goes to Disneyland in a $600 linen jumpsuit and designer flats? Everyone else is in Crocs and Mickey ears. But Meghan showed up like she was auditioning for Real Housewives of Montecito. The woman probably thinks casual means just one security guard instead of 5. No wonder people in the comments started calling it the soft launch of her next brand. But the real explosion, that came when Piers Morgan entered the chat, and he didn't need names to make his point. One cryptic tweet about blurred faces and parenting clout had the internet screaming, "We know who you mean." Suddenly, the story shifted from cute family day out to staged PR circus. And that's when the real backlash started. The timing of this Disneyland stunt, too perfect to ignore. Just days before Trooping the Color, one of the biggest royal events of the year, honoring King Charles, Meghan, and Harry somehow hijack headlines with a kitty photo drop? Come on, if this wasn't planned, then I'm the Duke of Disneyland. Insiders from Buckingham Palace weren't amused. In fact, sources say the mood behind palace walls was fuming. Why? Because to the royals, this wasn't a family trip. It was sabotage with mouse ears. A PR sucker punch thrown right before the monarchy's biggest stage moment. And once again, the Queen's nickname, Lilibet, was used front and center. As if that legacy wasn't sacred enough already. Let's remember, the palace never signed off on Meghan and Harry naming their daughter after the Queen. They dropped the name without permission, then claimed it was approved. Buckingham Palace clapped back, hard. And now, years later, here comes a whole staged media blitz using that name like a branded hashtag. Royal aides reportedly called it a deep embarrassment. One even said King Charles felt publicly played. That's not family tension, that's full-on palace warfare. And if you think this is just tabloid gossip, hold that thought, because what's coming next could shake the royal family tree even harder. Let's talk about the one name that should have stayed sacred, Lilibet. The Queen's private nickname, a name so personal, only her closest family ever used it, until Meghan and Harry rolled it out like a brand logo. And now, that name is being splashed across front pages, tied to Disneyland photo ops and social. Media drama, it's not just disrespectful, it's straight up marketing, and the palace isn't staying silent anymore. When Meghan and Harry first announced the name, they claimed it was a tribute, a warm nod to Her Majesty. But royal? Insiders clapped back instantly, saying no permission was given, and the Queen was never consulted. Still, the Sussexes ran with their version. Now, here we are again. Same name, same strategy, new scandal, except this time it's not a baby announcement. It's a full-blown PR stunt in Mickey Mouse land. King Charles was reportedly furious. Not irritated, not disappointed, furious. Because this isn't just about the name, it's about the pattern. Every time the Sussex brand needs a boost, a royal memory gets dragged into the spotlight. And using the Queen's legacy like a caption for curated family photos? Yeah, that crossed a line. Especially when Meghan's brand is flopping harder than her Spotify deal. And while we're here, can we ask why Meghan keeps launching brands? That sound like high-end air fresheners? American Riviera Orchard? It sounds like a Scent Bath & Body Works discontinued in 2009. No wonder the media didn't take it seriously. And the public, they smelled the desperation from a mile away. But believe it or not, things were about to get even messier. Because while the Queen's name stirred emotions, one very familiar voice was about to light the entire situation on fire. Enter Piers Morgan. And no, he didn't need to say Meghan to burn down the house. One tweet about blurred faces and parenting hypocrisy, and boom, the internet cracked wide open. It was like watching someone throw gasoline on a PR bonfire. And let's be real, Piers has been waiting for this moment. According to UK insiders, Meghan and Harry are now considering legal action over his remarks. Yes, again, because if there's one thing Meghan knows how to do, it's send lawyers into group chats. This isn't even their first rodeo. She previously tried to muzzle Piers after the Oprah interview, which led to his dramatic exit from Good Morning Britain. But spoiler alert, that only made him louder. And now, he's louder and more untouchable. His platform is bigger, his audience more ruthless. And this time, he's not just throwing jabs, he's bringing receipts. Piers has made it his personal mission to expose what he calls Meghan and Harry's selective transparency. Translation, show the kids when it sells, then cry foul when the press zooms in. But here's the kicker, people are listening. Piers isn't ranting into the void anymore. His commentary is going viral again. Because love him or hate him, he's saying what a lot of people are already thinking. You can't monetize your trauma, stage media moments, then sue when the spotlight gets uncomfortable. And Meghan? Well, let's just say if Piers' words were a podcast, she'd try to cancel it after the intro. But now the battle's going beyond headlines. Because while Meghan sends legal threats, the rest of her brand is quietly collapsing, and the cracks are showing. Behind all the chaos, there's a much quieter meltdown happening. Meghan's brand is falling apart in slow motion. Her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, launched with all the hype and none of the follow-through. Low downloads, zero buzz, and even her own fans couldn't fake the enthusiasm. You'd have better luck finding listeners on MySpace. Then there's American Riviera Orchard. The name alone sounds like a fake company from a Hallmark movie. She teased it with blurry flower photos and cryptic jars of jam like she was starting. A lavender cult, not a lifestyle empire. The press barely blinked. The audience didn't care. And that's when the pattern kicked in again. Because every time Meghan's brand takes a nosedive, the same thing happens. Cue the kids. A blurry photo here, a soft focus family moment there. Boom, instant headlines. It's like clockwork, and people are starting to notice. The audience doesn't see vulnerability anymore. They see strategy, a curated crisis, an image rehab, plan in 4 easy steps, drop a failing product schedule, a mysterious outing, bring the kids blur the faces for privacy. And just like that, she's on page 1 again. It worked for a while, but now even loyal supporters are rolling their eyes. The comments went from so sweet to here we go again. People don't want blurred faces with staged lighting. They want honesty, or at least a little less spin. And the more Meghan plays the misunderstood mogul card, the more the audience tunes out. But the palace, they're no longer just watching. Because on the other side of this disaster is someone who's officially had enough, and his name is Prince William. Behind palace walls, the gloves are coming off. Royal insiders say Prince William has reached a breaking point. He's done staying quiet. The stage stunts, the blurred optics, the public shaming of the monarchy. It's all gone too far. And for the first time, he's reportedly leading conversations about stripping Harry and Meghan of their remaining titles for good. This isn't just tabloid fantasy anymore. Senior royals, the ones who used to beg for peace, are now backing William's push. Why? Because they're tired of watching the royal name get used like a marketing slogan. Every interview, every lawsuit, every Disney moment. It's like Meghan and Harry are trying to turn Buckingham Palace into a plotline, and William, he's not having it. Sources close to him say he believes Meghan never actually wanted to join the royal family. She wanted to rebrand it and herself in one giant media spectacle. And Harry? Well, he's looking less like a prince and more like a co-star in someone else's show. The cheeky, lovable royal the public once adored has become the sidekick in a never-ending monologue about trauma and privacy delivered on global platforms with studio lighting. Even senior aides who once held back are now speaking up. Leaks are becoming louder. Allegations of Meghan being dismissive, demanding, and obsessed with standing out are surfacing again. Not from the press, from people who worked with her. And if William really is ready to act, then we're not just watching a royal feud. We're witnessing a quiet war. and the next move might erase the last link between Harry, Meghan, and the crown. At this point, the story isn't just about Disneyland or titles, it's about the entire Sussex brand unraveling. Former palace staff, once silent out of duty or fear, are now speaking out. What started as quiet whispers has become a flood of behind-the-scenes accounts that paint a very different picture than the one Meghan's been selling on Netflix. Staffers claim Meghan was dismissive of royal protocol from the start, constantly looking for ways to disrupt instead of contribute. She wasn't trying to fit in, she was trying to stand out. The royal role wasn't a commitment, it was a launchpad. And now, years later, it's all starting to make sense. The fast romance, the picture-perfect wedding, the tear-filled interviews. The global deals lined up in advance. This wasn't a fairy tale, it was a rebrand in real time. Oprah, archetypes, the docuseries, it was all part of the rollout. And Harry? Well, more and more people are starting to wonder if he even knows what game he's in, because while Meghan positions herself as the misunderstood mogul, Harry has become a footnote. The once beloved prince, known for his charm and humanity, now looks like the background character in a long-form PR campaign, and the audience is tired. The shock is gone, the outrage has faded, and worse, the drama has stopped feeling real. The once loyal fanbase is shrinking, the middle ground is evaporating, and now every new move from the Sussex camp is met with skepticism, mockery, or silence. Even the tabloids, once hungry for every crumb, are starting to yawn. And when the media's bored, that's when you know the machine is breaking down. Here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask out loud. If Meghan and Harry truly wanted privacy, why does everything still feel like a Netflix pilot? From the first paparazzi shot to the latest blurred family portrait, every move feels rehearsed. Every statement is timed, every private moment is mysteriously public. And the worst part? It's starting to look less like strategy and more like desperation. King Charles is reportedly walking a tightrope, torn between duty to the monarchy and his love for his son. But insiders say even he's running out of patience. One aide described his mood as a mix of sadness and quiet rage, especially over the use of Lilibet's name, not just because of what it symbolizes, but because of how it's being used, not as a legacy, as leverage. There's even talk behind palace walls about legally separating the Sussex children from their HRH titles, not to punish, but to draw a line. If the royal name is going to be used for staged photo ops and Spotify promos, then the crown has to protect what's left of its dignity. Meanwhile, Prince William is reportedly ready to take real action. No more sources say, no more stiff upper lip. He's done with the blindsides, the lawsuits, the selective sob stories. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about bad press. It's about what happens when two people mistake royal legacy for personal branding. And now, the public is asking the only question that matters. What do they even stand for anymore? Because the interviews are stale, the outrage is predictable, the photos are staged, and the magic, long gone. What once looked like a rebellion now looks like a rerun, and the audience is already changing the channel. At this point, it's not about privacy, it's about control of the narrative, the headlines, and the brand. But when the curtain falls and the audience stops clapping, what's left? We'll talk more about that in another video. Before you go, please note, this video discusses ongoing legal proceedings based on alleged and unverified information. All claims and allegations mentioned have not been confirmed by official sources and are part of a developing case. The views shared are for commentary and discussion purposes only. Always check for updates from reliable sources. Thanks for watching.